great morning, unity of Brooklyn, family and friends. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you to our media team, our readers, and thank you to everyone who's taking part in here with us in this service this morning. Thank you for your presence and thank you for your participation in today's service. Well, once again, this is the season of Advent, the season of preparation, the preparation for each of us of the birth within of our own Christ child. And we know that traditionally religion teaches the Advent season and Christmas Day as the birth of the baby Jesus. And so metaphysically, we are birthing that Christ child within us. It's a newness, a new understanding, and a new point in consciousness, in awareness. And so for the first Sunday of Advent, we talked about faith. And then the second Sunday of Advent, we spoke about peace. And now this third Sunday of Advent, the focus is love. So metaphysically, John the Baptist represents love, the power of love, or the faculty of love. Have you ever had several children in your household, maybe in your family, if there are no children in your household, who say that you favor another child more than you favor them? Well, this was the situation with the disciples. The disciples claimed that Jesus loved John more than Jesus loved the other disciples. And so John represents the faculty or the power of love. And in the scriptures, we also see that John the Baptist is a forerunner. We call him a forerunner. He was usually the person, usually the disciple that went out ahead and scoped the environment. He usually went before everyone else and just kind of made sure the coast was clear as they went through the various towns. He would go before everyone else and see what the situation was in the town, see what the people were talking about, see what the environment was like, and then the others would come following. That's John the Baptist. Well, Charles Fillmore, one of the two co-founders of the Unity Movement, in his written works, Jesus Christ Heals, describes love as a great harmonizer and a great healer. He says that whoever calls upon God as the Holy Spirit for healing is really calling upon divine love. He also says in his written work, Christian Healing, that love and unity and oneness are identical. Now, we're not talking about unity as the unity worldwide movement. We're talking about unity as oneness or togetherness. So he says that love, unity, oneness, and are identical. He says that love is the attracting power between God and humankind, as well as it is the attracting force between humankind and all of creation. And so today we're exploring the divine love, godly love, the unconditional love, the spiritual force of the spiritual activity that moves throughout the cosmos, that moves throughout the universe, moves in and through our very being. It is said that love is not giving something, but rather it is being something. I'm going to say that again because that's really important. Love is not giving something, but love is rather being something. And that's what Eric Butterworth said, one of our very prominent ministers. It is not something that can be defined. And very often we tend to define love as a feeling. Isn't that right? We tend as human beings to define love as a feeling when it's really a spiritual attribute. It's an innate attribute that is already within us that we express. And when we are being love rather than giving love, when we are being love, we are in the flow. In the flow of what? In the flow of life. in the flow of spirit, in the flow of God, in the flow of the Creator, in the flow of goodness. We are in the flow of life when we are being love. So, love being innate as a divine quality, when we when we try to love someone, in essence, we are passing judgment on self and another. When we say that we are trying to love someone, we are actually passing judgment on self and others. You may say, how is that? How is that? How can that be? Well, in essence, what we're doing when we say we are trying to love someone, we are actually questioning our capacity to express love because love is already there. Love is already innate. Love is already within us and within the other person. So, what is the trying? What is the trying about? We're questioning our capacity to express it at that point. And we're also questioning the other's ability to love and be loved. Think about that. Think about that. If our thoughts are we're trying to love someone, we are actually passing judgment on self and another. So, in speaking of love, it's the agape love. I want to be really clear about that. It's the agape love, the unconditional love, the Christ love that we're talking about, divine love, not Eros love, which is a romantic love and which has the ability, hear this, Eros love has the ability when it's undeveloped or underdeveloped to be superficial and fleeting. Eros love, a romantic love, has the ability when it is underdeveloped or undeveloped to be superficial and fleeting. And when we speak of expressing agape love, it means that we are in attunement, we are at one with the cosmic flow. We are at one with the flow of spirit. And there's no trying that's necessary. We're naturally flowing with the flow of spirit, the loving flow of spirit. And in this state, when we are with the flow of spirit, in this state, each and every change or condition that happens in our life does not have the power to flatten us, to take us out of commission, or to lessen the brilliance of our inner light. When we are in the flow, the loving flow of spirit, whatever happens around us does not have the ability to happen to us or through us. It doesn't flatten us, it doesn't take us out of commission, it doesn't lessen the brilliance of our inner light. So while some changes may sadden us, may frighten us, if we are vested in loving energy in the flow of spirit, we bounce back more quickly. Have you ever experienced that? That when you're in the flow of life, when you're in the flow of loving spirit, doesn't matter what happens. It may sadden us for a time, for a bit. It may frighten us for a bit, but we bounce back more quickly. As Dr. Maya Angelou says, and still I rise. Now, when we look at the national situation, the situation in our country today, it's an indicator. It is an indicator of who and what is attuned and aligned with the divine. It's an indicator of who and what ideas are aligned with the divine, and what thoughts and what words and what actions seem to be aligned with ego. Love is an indicator of who's on first base, who's on second base, who's on third base, and who's covering home. We can see in our families, in our household, in our friends, in our communities, the alignment with the loving spirit, the loving flow of divine energy by the words, by the thoughts, by the actions, and by the reactions. So if we take a look at healing, the process of healing, and it's important to remember this, healing happens through love. Whether it's a spiritual healing that we desire, whether it's a financial healing, whether it's a relational healing, whether it's an emotional healing, healing happens through love. Healing happens through love. And you may be saying to yourself, how? How does that work? How does that come about? Well, you see, the attribute of love, the faculty of love, the power of love centers us. It brings us back to center, to the Christ self. And it brings us into the consciousness, the awareness, the mindset of compassion, unity, oneness, and togetherness. And being in that space of compassion, unity, oneness, togetherness, being in that space creates the space or a passageway, if you want to say that, or a channel for the flow of divine love. Think about that. When we are helter skelter, when something happens and we just get so excited and so off point and out of alignment, ideas do not flow. But when we are, love brings us back to center. And healing needs us to be in that space, in that centered space for the flow of the divine in and through our life. When we speak loving words to our bodies, to our minds, to each other, over those who may not be expressing the best wellness at any given time, even to an object, when we speak loving words and healing words, we're calling forth the divine flow to flow through us, around us. Not that it already is not, but we are making ourselves aware and more aware that this is happening. Now, I can remember when I was a ministerial student, and the one of the instructors would just encourage us all the time to bless everything, bless everything. To this day, when I am clearing my desk at night so that I can start with a fresh and clear and clean desk in the morning, I am wiping down my desk and just this space, I'm affirming, this space is being cleansed and cleared for the flow of the divine. This space is being cleansed and cleared for the flow, the loving flow of the divine, so that when I sit in this space the next morning, the ideas more easily flow. In the car, affirming that this car is a vessel, this automobile is a vessel eased, filled transport. The energy of the divine love, the energy of love and divinity leads and guides its way. And just blessing each and everything, each and every object, each and every person. And you will find that when you are continually blessing, you are loving, and that energy is flowing. And like attracts like. So what we're giving is more of what we're receiving, and we are creating and we're opening the channels in our mind, in our heart, in our body, in our spirit for the flow of the divine. Love, in actuality, love is an act of faith. Think about that. Love is an act of faith. Because, when we share our love, we don't know that we're going to be loved in return. So love is an act of faith. And you will find that where there is love, there is faith. And where there is faith, there is love. When we have faith in a situation coming to pass, we're expressing love. There's love. There has to be love for us to draw that situation to us. Who can you think of? And maybe yourself. Who can you think of that you know is loving, very loving, and they also have the capacity of great faith? And who can you think of that expresses the capacity of great faith and is also a very loving person? The two go together. Where there is love, there is faith. And where there is faith, there is love. Have you ever maybe put an object outside when it's really pouring down rain, and maybe you sat it outside for some reason? And if that object is made of metal and it's left out there in the rain long enough, it begins to rust. And if it's made of a porous material and left out there in the rain long enough, it begins to mildew. Well, love is the energy that has the power to scrape off the erosion of the rust of our hearts and our minds. And yes, if we do not tend to the garden of our mind and the space of our heart, rusting can take place. Love is the power that has the ability to scrape off that erosion. Once our heart and our mind is open and receptive to love, divine love. Love is the energy that has the power to cleanse that mildew and illumine that object or that heart and that mind. For such thoughts and feelings as bitterness or anger or jealousy or fear or any negativity, for any feelings or thoughts of any negativity, unconditional love is the antidote. Now, let's be really clear that when we speak of unconditional love, agape love, Christ love, we do not mean unconditional consent or unconditional access by another. Unconditional love does not mean that we allow ourselves to be a doormat. Love cares enough to speak truth into situations that are in need of illumination. Let's hear that again. Love cares enough to speak truth into any situation that is in need of illumination. And when those occasions arise in our life, it is best to unapologetically speak your truth in love so that light can diffuse and illumine the darkness of the occasion or of the situation. Love cares enough to speak truth into situations that are in need of illumination. You know, love is likened to having merchandise. Think about this. Merchandise that the world is calling for and that every soul seeks. And when that love is overflowing in one's heart, one is prosperous. One is prosperous. We tend to think of prosperity only in the terms of money many times. When we are prosperous in love, money flows. When we are prosperous in love, relationships are healthy. When we are prosperous in love, our body feels good. All rounded, holistic prosperity, all coming forth and being activated in our life, in our world, in our affairs, because we are expressing the power and the faculty that is innate within us. It is inborn within us, that faculty of love. Divine love, as we say in unity, demonstrating as me, as you, flowing through me, through you, and is blessing and multiplying all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. Divine love. Don't take my word for it, my friends. Don't take my word for it. Call it up, activate it for yourself, and prove in your life this force that we call God. It's the Sufi poet Rumi that says, and we've said this before, our task in life as human beings is not to seek love. Our task is to seek and find all of the barriers within our own soul that we have built to block love. Love being that innate power, we have perhaps, because of some of our circumstances, because of some of our pain, because of some of what we've gone through in love, sometimes and oft times we tend to build barriers and blockages and not allow that love to come up and out and flow through us. So our task is not to seek love because the love is already there. The love is already within me. The love is already within you. So our task is not to seek it. Our role is not to go out and seek it because it's already there. Our role or task is to seek and to find the barriers or the blockages that we have created, and sometimes, most times, unaware of those blockages and barriers that we've created. And they just block the love from it being expressed. They block the love from being received. And so we want to, through introspection, through prayer, through meditation, we want to know, show me, God. Illumine my mind, God. And let me release whatever may be blocking the flow of divine love. Love is light, the light of our inner God that's shining in our soul as brilliance, as wisdom. The scriptures in Romans 13 and 10 tells us that love is the fulfilling of the law. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Brotherly love, sisterly love, Christ's love conquers all. The scriptures that were shared with us today in Romans 12 and 9 and Psalms 119. Let love be genuine. You know, love is something that we can't fake. Let love be genuine. Abhor, meaning dislike what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with brotherly and sisterly affection. And the second scripture read to us reminds us that the unfolding of our words give light. Think about that. The unfolding, the speaking and the unfolding of our words, because remember, our words are representative of our thoughts and our feelings. So the unfolding of our words gives light. It imparts understanding, the scripture says. Love and light, my friends, illumine our path, the path of our journey and the unfolding of our conscious awareness. It's love and light that illumine that the path to the awareness of our divinity. And we're all on that path. We're each on that path. And then collectively, we are all on that path together to express love, love of self, because we cannot give what we do not have. We cannot give what we're not aware of. And so if we're not aware of the divinity of love within us, the power of love within us, the faculty of love within us, if we're not aware of that, we cannot express it. But as we become more and more aware of that love within, we speak more loving words because we are expressing more loving thoughts. And we're all on this path of wanting and desiring to express more love in our life, in our world, and in our affairs. And as we become collectively a greater expression of that love and that light, the world becomes a better place to live. And this body becomes a better place to live within. So as we go forth in this week and in this season, and we don't have to wait until the season of Advent to work on these capabilities, let us remember in our daily movement in the world, even within the home if we're not outside, to express more love, to know the love within so that we can express more love, the love of God, the love of Christ, and see for yourself if the situations around you won't change. They absolutely will. Because in expressing love and in expressing light, we are in essence expressing God. God bless you. I bless you. And so it is. Namaste. So I invite you to take a deep breath right here and right now and just focus on any words that may have impacted you this morning. And hold those words in your mind, in your heart, and allow them to bless your life and your affairs.